there comes a point in our lives or at a certain crossroads where we have to make the decision, right? The decision to either settle for the life that we're currently living or actually go for the life that we actually want to live, right? And I think it's really important that when you get to this crossroads, or if you're watching this video, you probably are at this crossroad, right? You're selfish within that decision. And by selfish, I mean that you make the decision that's best for you. I feel a lot of the time when it comes to making decisions of what we actually want to do with our lives, right? We're influenced a lot by our parents, societal constructs of how society makes everything out to be like this is the right path for you, and our parents' influence. More importantly, they say, oh no, this is the best career for you, this is the best thing for you to do, you know, we know what's best for you. But I think in that moment you have to have discernment. You have to have the discernment enough to realize that this is your life at the end of the day, and you're the only person that's going to live it. And it's really important that you become selfish in that moment and make the decision that's best for you. Because if you make a decision based on what your parents or the people around you think you should do, right, and you make such an important decision like this, it has far bigger consequences that you can ever imagine. Over time, that's what builds resentment. You know, imagine someone who wants to be a professional footballer, a professional dancer, but then their parents influences them to say, oh no, go be a lawyer, it's best for you. And then society, based on the societal constructs, right, the system, the way the system is designed, it's easy to go down that path. And then they go down that path, and then 30 years later they realize that this isn't a life that I wanted to live. You start to pass blame, and that's just human nature, right? So I think it's really important, for the sake of you and for the sake of the people around you, that you make that decision solely based on you. What fulfills you and what do you actually want to do with your life? And when you make that decision, it's much more bearable, right? Regardless of the outcome, you're okay with living with the consequences because that's the decision that you decided to make. So I think it's really important to have discernment in those moments. And I feel like a lot of the time as well, we settle because the path that we want to go down, right, it's not clear. Like, think about it. If you wanted to be a lawyer, the path is laid out for you, right? You know, okay, in year one you're going to progress to A, B, C. Year two you're going to do that. You can see how the story ends, so to say. But then with the things that you actually want to do, the things that make you feel alive, the things that bring you joy, bring you fulfillment, the things that bring you peace, right, it's not quite clear. And I think sometimes it's the fear of the path not being clear. That's what becomes daunting to us. That's what makes us slip into the known path a lot easier, right? But the magic of it all is that the path reveals itself as you go down it. You don't have to know how the story ends for the story to be beautiful. You just have to be in alignment within that path. So I think sometimes it takes the courage to not settle for the life because of the fear of what it could look like, the fear that it could go wrong, and then just live a life that you don't want to live, right? Like, is that really living at the end of the day? And I don't think that is living. So I say go for it. I say don't settle. Do the thing that brings you most joy. Do the thing that you actually want to do. And be okay regardless of the outcome of it. And I know that's such a scary thing, right? Because the path is not known. But you have to know that that path is limitless potential because you don't know how it ends. You don't know what's in store for you. But the other path that you're going to want to settle down, that's limited because of the fact that you can see how it ends. You can see how the story ends and how the pathway looks like. So I think it's really important to go for the things that you actually want to go for. You know, strategically plan it. Bring yourself in alignment with the path that you actually want to go down. And just work every day to the best of your ability to be in alignment with that. And you'll see that life will be a lot more rewarding for you. You know, there's no point in settling, right? And choosing to not make that tough decision and going through your entire life realizing that you never made the decision that you actually wanted to make, right? Like, and by virtue of you not making that decision, life sort of decides for you. And you get to your end of your life and you realize that you never really lived. You just sort of existed, right? And that's a scary thought because we only have one life as we know it. And it's important to be intentional with our lives, right? Be intentional with every moment and every decision that you make, especially the important ones. Be intentional, because with intentionality comes confidence. With intentionality comes the peace within yourself of knowing that I chose this. I did this because I wanted to. I did this for me. So yeah, I know it's easy to settle down and be in a certain pathway because it's laid out for us and because it's clear, but I think innate, the thing within you knows that that's not the right decision to make. And I don't say that go ahead and abruptly change your life, right? No, I just say that do the things that bring you most joy. Don't be afraid to make the decisions that you actually want to make because of how they might play out, because of the fear of it might not work out, because what if it works out, you know? I believe that if you truly want to make something work and you truly apply yourself to a craft or truly apply yourself to a goal and you do everything that's in alignment to get you close to that goal, there is no option but that goal to be made manifest, right? So yeah, don't make tough decisions because you don't know how it's going to play out, but instead choose to have the courage to make those tough decisions and be okay with making that decision regardless of the outcome, because that's what you want to do. And you'll see that life will bless you a lot more. And I don't really have anything else I really want to talk about this in this video, but just that whatever phase you are in your life right now and whatever decision you have to make, do it for you, because it's your life at the end of the day. You're the one that has to live it. No one else is not going to live that life for you. Your parents are not going to live the life for you. Society is not going to live the life for you. And you're going to have to suffer the consequences of that decision. You're going to have to suffer the consequences of not making that decision at the end of the day. So don't stop yourself from living because existing is easier. Nah, I don't think that's the right way to look at it. I think you deserve a lot more in life, and I think life's a lot more beautiful and there's a lot more opportunities in life when we're open to life, when we open ourselves to life. I think settling keeps a closed lid on life, so to say. It keeps us in a certain pathway, but then you have to think about it as like a desert, right? And then that pathway is only one speck of sand, whatever, within a vast desert, so to say. I don't know if that analogy makes sense, but I just know I'm trying to highlight the fact that by virtue of you just focusing on the small thing that you can see, you blind yourself to the abundance and the limitless of opportunities around you. So I think you should always be open, and settling isn't the right mentality to go for things, and settling isn't the right mentality to have within life, because if you settle, life will truly just go by you, and you get to the end of your life and you realize that I never lived.